Chief Justice Mogoeng Mogoeng will deliver a keynote speech for the 17th Nelson Mandela Annual Lecture today. This year's theme is Constitutionalism as an Instrument for Transformation. ENC's Govan Whittles is there to set the scene for us. Over to you, Govan. Tell us what's happening at the moment.
Well, the guests have started arriving here at the University of Johannesburg Soweto campus. Among them activists, politicians, business people, obviously a lot of people from the NGO sector. But the conversation we're having today is whether or not South Africa's constitution is being used as an instrument for transformation. How has that gone over the last 2 decades, and what can be improved? Let's be joined now by Mamphela Ramphele. She is the co-founder for Reimagine South Africa. Dr. Ramphele, thank you so much for your time. What do you think about the use of the Constitution as an instrument for transformation, as we're discussing today?
The Constitution is a tool that all of us as South Africans need to be familiar with. It needs to be a basis for education in our schools, in the workplaces, everywhere, so that every citizen knows what it means to be a citizen, what are your rights, what are your responsibilities. What we have done is to neglect making the Constitution accessible to all South Africans. The people who currently have access to the Constitution are largely the elite, the educated, and they are using it appropriately to protect their rights. And the protection of their rights is not necessarily to promote social justice, which is the core of the values of the Constitution.
Who do you think is responsible for making sure that the majority of South Africans are utilizing the Constitution to the ends of transforming the society?
You and I, we the people, say in the preamble of that Constitution, we will heal the wounds of divisions of the past by establishing social justice, respect for human rights, and respect for human dignity. And if we want it done, we need to make sure our government at the local level, at the provincial level, at the national level does that. Our parliament should do that. The private sector should also do that. The labor unions are not educating their members to be informed citizens. So it's all of us who are responsible. But of course, the Nelson Mandela Foundation, given his role to protect and promote his legacy, have a great responsibility to convene those conversations, tough conversations about how do we use the Constitution as an effective instrument for transformation.
And looking at the moment which South Africa currently finds itself in economically as well as socially, what do you think we can draw from Tata Madiba's legacy at this moment as a country?
The most important thing to draw from Madiba's legacy is Ubuntu, which encapsulates the human rights in the Bill of Rights that's in our Constitution. Madiba lived Ubuntu. He had the utmost respect for every human being, and he dedicated his life to making sure there is social justice. If we want to honor him, that's what we need to do. We need to live the values of Ubuntu.
And lastly, if I may draw you in on this, there's been some controversy of late, especially between the foundation and rights groups such as AfriForum, which the foundation sees as a group defending minority rights. Do you think as South Africans, the road that we've come under the leadership of former President Nelson Mandela, some of that has now regressed, and we find ourselves more racially polarized than before?
We have failed to leverage the legacy of Mandela to build this shared sense of the common identity of South Africans is being South African. AfriForum can only lean on its historic legacy of being Afrikaners, and they are very good at it. But if we, who are the majority, had in fact, and we still have a chance, to invest in developing a shared identity as South Africans, we'll drown out those voices. We shouldn't be afraid or be intimidated by well-organized groups of small people. We are the people, and there are more South Africans who want to promote that shared identity as South Africans, but we have not invested in that. And I believe if we teach our children from early childhood education, through school, university, the workplace, this place will be a great place to be in. You can't find a more beautiful country than South Africa. But we need to build that values-based way of living together. If that's the way we work together, we won't kill one another. There won't be gender-based violence. There won't be the corruption and the thieving that has stolen the possibilities of South Africa's great future.
Thank you so much. That's Mamphela Ramphele, anti-apartheid activist, businesswoman, as well as activist in the post-apartheid era. And Chief Justice Mogoeng Mogoeng will be delivering the Nelson Mandela Lecture just after 2 o'clock. For now, it's back to you.
Right, thank you very much for that. Governor Whittles coming to us from the University of Johannesburg, and we'll catch up with him again a little bit later.